my 6 p.m. This is for the commute home. This is for your drive time commute, everybody. This McDonald's, everybody. I just wanted to start here because this McDonald's at the corner of Downing Street. You can look this up. This was the luncheonette. I think it's called Pete's Luncheonette, where the Muppets work in Muppets Take Manhattan. Now it's a McDonald's, of course. It's corporate. It's been gentrified. It's all just homogenized shit. But back in the day, in the late 70s, when the Muppets immigrated to Manhattan, they worked at this McDonald's right here. Pete's Luncheonette's what it's called in the Muppets Take Manhattan, which incidentally is not real. I don't know. It's the Muppets, so you love the Muppets, but it wasn't a very good movie. There wasn't enough Manhattan in it, frankly. I thought it was going to be like Jason Takes Manhattan. There's going to be more Manhattan. What else? Yes, the telethon yesterday. We're going to talk all about the telethon, do a telethon recap. We did it. So this is day 3 straight of entertaining you guys. I know I'm oversaturating the market. We've gotten a good amount of clicks on the telethon. You know, not that the video's great. I'm sure anybody that clicks it's just like, this is a piece of shit. Can't even watch this. It's like a home video from 9/11. It's the quality of camcorder that I film everything with. It's like 9/11 era. It all looks like a 9/11 video. But yeah, we did the telethon. What was I gonna say about it? Oh, I just had something, I lost it. Yeah, it was fun. Oh yeah, well, I do want to talk about. I was gonna start out by talking about. There's just the train ride over. There's this guy on the Q train. Oh yeah, the System Lord video. The System Lord video. It's part 2. Like every System Lord gig, we go in last, so everybody's left. All the bands I'm in are like the best bands that nobody's seen. Because everybody leaves early. Thanks a lot, assholes. I just want to say to all the people who I booked on the show and gave good time who left before we played, fuck you. It's a pretty shitty move, to be honest. I mean, I give a lot of people a lot of stage time, and the least they could do is stay and watch. But in any case, we kicked ass. And it's probably the best System Lord video out there, actually, yet. The camera angle is actually pretty cool. I'm just kidding about fuck you. So check out the System Lord. It's part 2 of the telethon. Yeah, so I'll do a telethon recap on my live stream. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. It's Tuesday, 6 p.m. You know what that means. It's time for your drive time commute with Matt Proctor, doing the king of all Matts, doing the post telethon. So I was on the Q train. I don't know if there are people who take the Q train, but there's this guy in Brooklyn. I don't think I've ever seen him in Manhattan. But when you get over the bridge on the Q train into Brooklyn, that's where shit kind of gets weird. And that's where the real Brooklyn starts. Like about after Church Avenue on the Q train. And there's this guy who rides the Q train. Usually it's late at night. Who wears like a bunny costume. He wears like, you know, he's like kind of a big guy who wears like a bunny costume. And he does kind of weird, I don't know what he thinks it is. Today he called himself a philosopher. He said he was a philosopher like Napoleon. So I guess he's a philosopher. But usually he's on the train late at night and he's just kind of like doing some kind of weird borscht belt. He's got like kind of these repeated phrases that he says. I can't remember them, any of them off the top of my head. But, you know, he's a memorable part if you live in this part of Brooklyn, this bunny guy. It makes the train, I try to picture the Q train like some kind of countryside, like I'm Proust or something, like riding the train to the French countryside. Or it's like, you know, when the bunny's on it, it's almost like a dining car or something. It's like entertainment. And he's really like a busker, but he's kind of like got that old New York feel where he's like, this woman's got a parrot over here. She's carrying a parrot on her shoulder. He's kind of weird. It's a little bit unsettling or eccentric. Like it's probably a mental illness. Let's face it. He's not a philosopher. He probably just has a mental illness. And so he's on the train and he's like entertaining late at night, but he's wearing this costume and he's just kind of weird. He's not really funny. He's not really that deep of a philosopher. He's just kind of an unusual guy. And, to me, that's sort of the texture of New York or whatever, New York used to be, or, that kind of like slightly dangerous, slightly eccentric, okay, I had two people watching, they both clicked out. I'm sorry, I'm not entertaining enough for you people. I don't know how I could possibly make this more interesting for people. Like, I guess, there's probably a small market for people that just want to hear me ramble for hours. But, I honestly would rather just have nobody watch when I'm doing it live. The chat, walking around in traffic, trying to keep track of the chat. I don't know. It's hard to focus. I'm talking about the Bunny Man and the Muppets. So anyway, the bunny guy, he was on the train today. It was a weird, kind of rare mid-afternoon appearance. He wasn't wearing the bunny costume. I got on the train, and there was this guy, I sat by the fucking window. I got the window seat. That's the luxury of being a super commuter and living way the fuck out on the train, is you do usually get a good seat. Because nobody's on the fucking train that far out. And so I sit down at the fucking window seat, and I hear this guy talking. I thought he was having a conversation with somebody. I'm just like, oh, he's talking to this lady across and then I sort of gradually realize, oh, fuck, it's the Bunny Man. But he's not wearing his bunny costume. It's like seeing Bruce Wayne or something. So I don't know what the hell. I guess this is what he does for fun. He just rides the fucking train all day and speaks out. He was just sort of like podcasting. He was basically just on the train. I forget. He was talking about narcissism, how everything's narcissism, our whole society, animals. He said he likes looking at animals. He likes watching animals. Humankind is just all, narcissism. That's why we have violence. People want to build up their name or whatever the fuck. But there was this lady who was sitting behind me on the other side of the chair who really was not having it. She hated the Bunny Man. She hated the philosopher. So she was like, shut up. She told him to shut up a few times. She told him to shut up, and he'd stop for a second, then he'd start talking again. And he's like, I've been told 3 times in the last 2 days to shut up. Nobody ever tells me to shut up. It's like, I kind of appreciated it because it's almost like having a radio fucking show or something while you're there. It's like having a live radio show. Like, this dude is just talking to him. He's not like, it's a peculiar kind of like mental illness or whatever he has, because it's like, he thinks he's not crazy. He's like, if I was crazy, then you wouldn't talk to me. You wouldn't acknowledge me. You wouldn't even tell me to shut up. What did that guy just say? Did he call me a motherfucker? I'll walk up Hudson. What the hell? So that's the bunny report. He wouldn't shut up. He kept talking about how he's a philosopher like Napoleon. He doesn't seem dangerous. I don't think the Bunny Man really, I wasn't really afraid. I was sitting there, I wasn't like trying to encourage him, and it would have been fine with me if he shut up. But it's also a long train ride, so, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of something going on to, give you some stimulation or whatever. I wish more people would do that. I mean, I was going to write a play, and I've alluded to this before. My friend who directed my Will play was doing, I think she got a commission or something to direct a play about the trains. And so I had an idea for a play where, like, the subway conductor, because they have little microphones and shit, They can get on the PA and just, like, they could play music, whatever, So I had an idea for a subway conductor that was like Phil Shapp, who just talked the entire time. You were on the fucking train, just like this. Except, you're riding on the train. Ladies and gentlemen, next stop is J Street Metrotech. And then, you just go into your spiel about, oh, great. I probably shouldn't say on my live stream that I don't want anybody to watch. I don't know why, it's weird because people like watching it live. I don't really get that many views after, really. It's like you either catch it live or people just don't want to see it. It's like, I don't know. I designed this shit to hold up, or like I'd like to think that it holds interest, or even though I talk about things that are topical, I think there's stories in it. There's, I try to weave a lot of different things into this. Politics, socio-political commentary, economic theory, cultural criticism. This is basically like a zine. I'm a scene commentator in New York, and all right, so let me talk about the telethon a little bit. Maybe that'll be my kind of zine for today. My scene report. Here we are at Cowgirl Seahorse, everybody. I've never actually eaten there, I don't think. So yeah, the telethon. They gave us a Sunday. It's the first gig I've really booked. Because, just these venues are just so difficult to work with. I'm not good with email because I'm a pothead and it just makes it impossible. I really don't want to be on email all day like everybody else who has a fucking job. In fact, I think email is like a class differential. It's like you're either in the email world and you're like bourgeois, or you're like outside the email world and you're like falling apart in poverty. But free. I feel it's about freedom, really. That's the price that I pay for freedom. Is like, okay, I don't get any job, I don't get paid, I don't have insurance, I can't, fix anything in my life. But on a day-to-day basis, I get to keep live streaming and smoking weed and walking around New York City and doing open mics. Which is kind of a mental illness in and of itself. Oh yeah, fucking Lewis Mason told me this amazing story. He gave me this amazing gift. Fuck, I should probably go get it. It's at KGB. He works at a bookstore, let's just say. A stationery store in the West Village. And I guess he told me he met Springsteen. So the other day he said fucking Daniel Day-Lewis came in. Which I've always heard that Daniel Day-Lewis lives in the West Village somewhere, but, of all the movie stars, he seems kind of the hardest to reach. He seems, maybe not reclusive, but he seems kind of, resistant to being kind of like, celebrity, whatever, approachable. I don't think he wants to be approachable. And he doesn't, I don't think... He's like a craftsman, so he's not necessarily the same as a lot of actors, it's like he's a fucking cobbler and shit. So anyway, he fucking came into the place where Lewis Mason works, and I guess Lewis Mason had gotten the book Oil by Upton Sinclair out of the New York Public Library. I probably shouldn't tell. I shouldn't tell. It's not my story, but it's a Daniel Day-Lewis encounter. It's just too incredible. So he has this fucking book, Oil by Upton Sinclair, which is what There Will Be Blood is based on. It's the novel that the movie is based on. And actually, There Will Be Blood is probably a better title, to be honest, than just Oil with an exclamation point. Not a great title, Upton Sinclair. I don't mean to criticize or be a dick or anything, but kind of a lazy title. So anyway, Lewis Mason fucking strikes up a conversation with him. I think just like casually, you know, I don't think he really he wasn't like, wow, you're Daniel Day-Lewis, wow, holy shit. It was like he started talking about papers, I don't remember what. I think he said something about his dad was a sailor in Argentina, or he was in the Navy or something, and Daniel Day-Lewis is talking, oh yes, I used to work in Argentina. What were you doing there, Daniel Day-Lewis? Were you cobbling? Were you a cobbler? All right, Ashley, love you, good night. Good night, Ashley, I love you, okay? Hanging with the Dare. Ashley's hanging with the Dare, everybody. Do you hear that? She's with Harrison, or whatever the fuck his name is. Aren't you all jealous? All of the fucking wannabes on, Ashley's going to a Dare DJ set. We got invited. We doesn't include Matt. We doesn't include your middle-aged age gap, daddy. Oh God, bringing our personal lives into the live stream. I mean, is this what's discouraging everybody? Okay, the Dare. Harrison personally invited Ashley. He said Glib is maybe you should get him to blurb your book. You should get the Dare to blurb Glib. Or Charlie XCX. Can you get Charlie XCX? I mean, you're looking for some kind of the Dare. Did you hear that, everybody? The Dare will be Ashley's book launch. You should get the Dare to DJ it or something. Can you get the Dare to DJ your book launch? Get something for the zine from the Dare. Tell him, does he write poetry? What's the Dare's poetry like? Okay, good night, Ashley. Did everybody hear that? That's an exclusive. That's an exclusive live announcement. Tell him to come to open mic. Tell him to come to Easy Paradise. We'd love to get the Dare on Monday night. Can you bring the Dare to open mic on Monday? Can we get him to do a song? How come he didn't come to the fucking telethon? Tell the Dare that he needs to do the telethon next year. Okay, love you, Ashley. Ashley loves the Dare. She loves Harrison. She's not going to help me with anything. She just came on to rub that in my face. Ashley doesn't care about me, actually. She's just using me for like a doormat. I looked at Ashley's Instagram page. There's not a single picture of me. Her whole Instagram page is just pictures of her. And then if you look at my Instagram page, every tagged picture has Ashley in it. Okay. But she just wanted to get on real fast to brag about how she knows the Dare. But she's not going to invite me or help me or anything, do anything to help me after all I've done for her. And all the people that I've helped. I mean, I've helped so many fucking people, it's crazy. And yet, when I try to ask for help, they act like I'm a fucking prick or something. Whatever. You will ditch me as soon as your shit takes off, just like everybody. I'm just meant to live on the bottom. I'm the kindergarten teacher. Okay, Ashley. Have fun at the Dare concert. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, so we had the telethon. Okay, Ashley, have a good night. Thank you for watching. No, I don't want to come. I don't want to come. No, thank you. Okay, love you, Ashley. So yeah, the telethon. Thank you for coming, everybody, to the fucking telethon. Whoever, I mean, I don't know. About halfway through, a bunch of people came up from the downstairs, who I think were staying in the hostel. They looked like a church group or some kind of travel group or something. I think they were really offended by Ashley's poetry. They started to leave when Ashley's sexually explicit poetry was read, but what can you do? I don't know. People are sensitive now. They're incredibly sensitive. Audiences are sensitive. They're not easily impressed. They got better shit to do. It's hard to get a fucking audience to come. I mean, don't get me wrong, I make horrible posters. My posters just keep getting worse. My anime post may have been the worst poster I've ever made. But I don't know. I don't know how to make a poster that anybody. I don't know how to make anything that anybody likes. I don't know how to, to do that. So I just do this. Live streaming to fucking 4 people. Thank you for watching. But it was a fun event. I mean, the System Lord gig was incredible. It was so nice to play with System Lord. I'm so glad they came out. It's been too long. System Lord is a thing that nobody comes to any of the gigs. Ashley is the only person that comes to the fucking System. And it's all just, you're in a good band when the only people that come to the gigs are the significant others of the people in the band. It's all the girlfriends and boyfriends of the people in the band. But I don't know. I think System Lord kicks mega ass. I don't know why we just don't have any visibility. We're not a part of the scene. We don't go to other people's gigs. We haven't played since November. Last gig System Lord played was Freak World. And we kicked ass. It's a real shame that we didn't get a gig right after that. I mean, like I was saying earlier, we got kicked out of every venue, The last few shows that I booked last year, literally no one showed up, which, kind of sucks, considering how many fucking people that I've put on over the years. And not just the open mic. I mean, I've been doing fucking shows for a decade in New York, where I book people's bands, I book fucking poets, everything, comedians, whatever. It's not a quid pro quo, and people just don't like System Lord or anything I do, I guess. And it sucks because System Lord kicks ass, Wavetable kicked ass. Literally everybody left before we fucking played. I gave but like I always do, the Slooge parties, it was the same thing. We would put everybody on, and we'd go on last after everybody else had fucking left. That's what's always happened with Wavetable, with System Lord. It's like nobody saw any of these fucking bands because nobody supports what I do. That's why I put the fucking videos online, because it's like maybe people watch it later. But like I said, I made a shitty flyer for the gig with 2 old guys on it. I made a flyer with Jerry Lewis and Ed McMahon on it. And I didn't promote it that far in advance. I don't know. Some people charge $20 to go to their fucking show. It's like my show's free. It's on a goddamn rooftop. You can perform on the fucking show. And yet I can't get anybody to come out, Maybe I should charge $20 fucking dollars. But it was fun. I mean, I had a fun time. People sounded great. Dead Letters sounded great. Kenny and Rosa Todaro came out. That was awesome. Fucking Matt Scribble. Fucking that dude from New Hampshire. What's his name? Josh. He's there's. It's hard because I'm living right on this fault line of stand-up comedy and everything else. Poetry, music, and so it's like it's hard not to talk about it because there is such a stark differential between the way that audiences react to stand-up comedy and the way that the stand-up comedians, what they think is appropriate and what everybody else wants to see. But there are stand-up comedians who are doing interesting stuff that it's maybe not necessarily like the funniest fucking thing in the world, or at least like it's not in this sort of like prescribed script pattern of call and response, setup, punchline, joke form, where it's like these comedy clubs. It's like there's this ebb and flow of the rhythm, laughter, joke, and like Peter Glissman said an interesting thing last night about these comedians now, are like Spalding Gray. They don't have the training. They don't know setup, punchline, joke form, so they'll never get out of the open mic scene because they're not writing jokes. They think they're just sort of, there's no gaps, there's no emphasis. It's not clear when you're supposed to laugh. A lot of comedy is just like signaling to the person that, like, okay, this is what, this is funny. Isn't this funny? It's just weird to me how it's culturally, like, how is the New Yorker doing a comedy issue, and yet these comedy clubs are full of all of this bile? Even my brother had a post about it. My brother Jack had a post the other day about stand-up comedians will, like, bring bad energy to your event quicker than anybody. And it was just like, how, he's a musician. He's not even an open mic host or anything. But that being said, the comedians on Sunday, I thought, were very, like, Matt Scribble and I think his name is James from New Hampshire. It's like, they're interesting, they're interesting. I like Spalding Gray. I'd rather hear that. I would rather hear kind of a narrative. That's what I'm trying to kind of emphasize. I used to get more artists who did that sort of thing. People like Sasha J or Millie Ephraim, or, people that were doing sort of like a hybrid between talking, just, and so this is something I harp on all the time. I guess I'm beating a dead horse. That's my forte. You just find one thing that works and you just beat it to death. Well, Ramsey had an interesting, I think it was Ramsey. Somebody had an interesting bit last night. Oh, maybe it was Adil K about beating a dead horse. Such an odd phrase, because it's implying that, like, it's good to beat an alive horse. You beat an alive horse, then, you're doing something functional. You're beating a dead horse. Is that what we're doing on Monday? Are we just beating a dead horse? I mean, I don't know. It's like, people, the group wants to maybe characterize things, but we still get people coming out. It's like we are making our quota. We're making good money. It's a job at this point. And so, like, but I'm worried that, we're alienating people with poisonous humor. Humor that's not even, like, offensive. It's not that it's offensive. It's just, like, sick. It's sick, and it's not sick, like, in a funny way. It's just, like, these people are disturbed. And I do think it's like the internet. The way that the internet has, like, allowed people who used to be loners or kind of, like, fringe types to sort of find group solidarity, find their sort of, like, sub, culture. And, so I think with stand-up comedy, it's like people have in their head that they're a part of that. They're making content online. They have solidarity amongst the other comedians or something. But it's maybe they're just, like, upholding each other's, bad habits. And I think it can be healthy to get up on stage and face that fear. But with stand-up comedy, it's like you're getting a lot of people that are, like, it's like exposing yourself. Or it's like Louis. It's like jacking off in front of people. It's like, we don't want to see this. We don't want to see you talk about this. It's a weird time, right, for free speech, because you don't want to look like you're censoring anybody. I think that's the problem with, like, Mondays. It's like I'm trying to let people say whatever they want, but then when people say whatever they want, the snowflakes get offended. Or, people who are more sensitive and considerate human beings who care get offended. That's what a snowflake is, after all, just somebody who cares. I'm sorry, this has been an intense I didn't intend this to be that intense. I didn't mean to be all bitter about how people don't support me or anything. I had a great time on Sunday. I mean, it was muggy, it was like hot, and like it was a lot of work. I got to carry all that equipment up the stairs and shit. But yeah, it's just like you're forcing something on somebody. I mean, that's the nature of an open mic. I think that's what it is. It's like you're going to have anything goes. It's like I do try to make it as good a show as I can, but it's like that's what I'm worried about. It's like by having certain people that I try, or I don't know, like figuring out the business model about how to do this. You know, is it better to have regulars that like you try to help and try to prioritize because they come every week, even though they don't spend that much money or hardly any money at all? I mean, they do come, they tell people about it, they're regulars, but are they scaring people away who might become regulars, who might spend more money? You know, it's generally the people that are poetry oriented or sensitive, or those are the people that are probably going to spend more money, actually. You know, the comedians just want to come in and get there 5 minutes and get the fuck out of there, generally. Not all of them, but a lot of them are doing some other spot and they want to jump on while they go do something else, and it's like, you know, I don't know, man. It's like I have to juggle fucking messages with so many goddamn people that it's like, I apologize if I'm rude to you or if I don't respond to your message or this or that, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know how to keep good relationships with this many people. Under the economic strain that I'm under, and just like trying to maintain my life, just functionality. I mean, the fact that, so it was our 100th show yesterday. You know, we've done 100 fucking Monday open mics. And to be honest, I've never missed a single one. Other than the ones that we were preempted. One week we were preempted by Ari Shaffir. That was early on in our run. That was like November 22. That was like 2 months in. Ari Shaffir was like doing a fucking show. So we were off that week. And then we were off last week for Christmas and New Year's. Those are the only 3 weeks we've even missed since we started. So we're 100 shows in. You know, if nothing else, we have that. And you know, we learn as we go. Just keeping that alive, you know, I think has been a success, you know? I mean, has it grown? Has it gotten bigger? In certain ways, yes. It's not as packed, maybe, as it once was. But, you know, there's so many complicated aspects to it that it's like, you know, it's an open mic, so there, you know, if I sign up 60 fucking people the ideal would be if I just got a huge audience that wanted to come watch, and then like the list wasn't, you know, instead of like, well, I need to get 60 people signed up to get it packed in there, because then it's like, okay, well, I got 60 people on the list. How am I going to get all these people up? They're all going to want to kill me. They're all going to be bothering me all night about when is it my fucking turn. This guy just decided to turn his Amazon truck on to make noise during my set. This is like your average comedy set, actually, right here. What this podcast, the bitterness and the kind of like, you know, lack of. You know, there's just, it's weird that when you are in front of an audience, like, you have an obligation to be like, I don't know, again, entertaining, charming, or positive or something. It's like, why can't you get up there and use your real life and meander and bring the sad part of your life, you know, or bring the awkward part of your life. You know, like last night, the 100th show, it was a little bit of a rough show. We had some technical things. We've been down, our board, they took the board that we had to the new space downstairs, so we got the old board again. So it's like I'm using this board that I'm not used to, and it's like, it's okay, but it's like, you know, it was a fun show. It's always fun, but it's like you kind of just have to understand if you're going to do this many shows. I mean, we're on stage 3 to 4 hours a week or more. 100 shows, that's 400 hours. There's going to be rough patches. There's going to be ups and downs. You know, you can't make everybody happy, especially performers, especially poets, comedians, open mic. You know, I mean, the other thing that makes it more difficult is like we can't start till 9 o'clock. You know, in the early days, we could start at 8:15. They pushed us back to 9, starting like, that was honestly when less people started to show up. And rightly so, because we have less time to put people up in prime time, you know. Pretty much by 10:30, most people want to go home. Except that, you know, the reason why I like having the comedy late. You know what I mean? Like, the thing about what's unique about what we're doing is there's not that many late night comedy open mics, and there's definitely not that many in Manhattan. So comedians who like to do comedy late at night can come out after 11 p.m. on Monday, and a lot of times that's kind of the end of the show, is we have kind of a great comedy lineup, which I enjoy. You know, all of the snowflakes have left. I'm just kidding, you know. I do, you know, to be honest, I get a lot more out of listening to poetry. And, it's hard because a lot of like poetry open mics have this vibe that's like super sacrosanct and quiet and vulnerable. Like I was talking to somebody about Mike Geffner, and they were saying like that dude is super strict. You know, like they have a super strict like no comedy thing, no, you know, like your time limit and blah blah blah. It's all super strict, and it's like I get why they have those boundaries. People like that stuff. For me, I like doing it more in kind of an old-fashioned, just kind of amateur way with my own spit and polish on it and elbow grease. And I'm not, I mean, a lot of people went on long last night because it was our special, you know, and to be honest, it was just like, it's not that I didn't have that many signups. I had 30 plus signups. A lot of people flaked, which is not unusual, but it's frustrating. You know, it's always frustrating. It's hard for me to have a positive reaction when people flake on me, you know, because it's like I'm counting on people to come out to make it exciting. It's not exciting unless you come out. And I get it, you know, like people have their own lives. You know, there's a million different reasons. They got to work in the morning. You know, their schedule changes. They're out of town, whatever it is, you know. They're tired. They had a big weekend. It's raining. It's probably like so we're lucky to have, and I want to give back. I want to give as much to people as they can if they come out and spend money, or even if they don't. You know, that was the point of doing the rooftop show on Sunday. It's like I want to give back to people that do the open mic, come to this rooftop thing. You'll get more time. You'll get 10, 15 minutes. You know, people like Jordan or Jason Heim, or, you know, people that maybe, you know, I feel like a lot of the musicians do kind of get the short end of the stick, and that's probably why they like Auto Shrunken Head a lot more. You know, the Auto Shrunken Head Wednesday thing, it's just like you get 10 minutes or something. You get a few songs, and they're not on your ass to buy drinks. You know, it's like it's earlier. It starts at like 6 p.m. So it's like, you know, we have a lot of boundaries that we have to work within that you know, maybe people don't see. Like, we got to start at 9. We got to force these drinks on people. You know, it's hard to get people coming with that kind of economic pressure, you know, like I couldn't afford it. So there's a lot of logistics, there's a lot of ins and outs, a lot of what have yous. And so, you know, the fact that we're succeeding, we're able to hit our, you know, targets, our sales targets within those boundaries and make it the most exciting Monday night. But yeah, I do feel like songwriters, it's like it's like a lot of times they'll go on later. They get to play one song or two songs. And there's not as many people there. Like, that's probably sucks for them. So a lot of them don't come back, you know. It's hard because I've got different kinds of acts, and part of what determines the order is what you do. To be honest, the priority goes to literature stuff. You know, if you're a poet, if you're reading a short story, if you're reading prose, whatever it is, if you're a writer, you get a priority. If you're a musician, you're like next in the priority, you know? Particularly if you do something interesting, you know? Or, you know, I would say the second priority would be anybody who's like an interesting, whatever it is, like, you know, performance artist, you know, ventriloquist, although we know how that can go. You know, if you do, or dancer like Cindy Reed, you know, if like you do something that nobody else does and it's interesting, and then I generally, like, that will be like high in the priority list. Then it's like if you're a piano player, you know, like if you're an amazing piano player, songwriter, that's always special. That's very high on the priority list. And then it's like if you have tracks, and then it's like if you're a guy with a guitar. I'm sorry, but the guys with the guitars are, and then the very bottom of the list is stand-up comedian. Sorry, but it's like, they just kill the show. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's true. So it's like, you know, I can really only afford to put about 2 stand-up comedians on in the first, like, hour and a half. If that. Maybe the first 2 hours. Because they'll kill the show. You know? Very few of them. And within that, it's like the priority goes to, you know, people who are not white, straight, you know, people who are people of color, what have you. They get priority. Women get priority. White men are the lowest. So if you're a white male stand-up comedian, and then it's also talent, you know, like it is sort of an audition, you know. Like, if it's the first time you've ever come out and I don't know you, and you're a white guy who plays guitar, you're a comedian, like, I'm sorry, but you probably signed up late, especially if you signed up late. I mean, it's also like, it really is based on when you signed up, but it's also like, did you perform early last week? You know, like, I can't, it's if you're a regular, and, you know, it's like, I can put you on early every once in a while, but I can't have the same people go early every week, you know? So you know, it's like I can put Peter Glissman on early once every 3 or 4 weeks, but after that, it's like people have heard the material, and, you know, that goes for a lot of people, you know, and I apologize, but it's like we have a very short window of time that's kind of like when everybody's trying to get on. And if you're new, and, you know, it's like if you perform late and you're really good, it's like, oh, fuck, okay, I'll remember that. I'll put you up early next time because I know that you'll do great, you know. But a lot of times you'll put people on and they're you know, they would have bombed anyway. So it's like, it's, you know, it really, in order to make it a big show, you have to make it good. And in order to make it good, you do have to, like, sort of curate it a little bit. It's not just like people come and sign up and they're on the list and they get to go. You know, it's like, if you're super fucking talented and you're gonna kill and you bring a bunch of people, you know, we're gonna cater to you than like some loner stand-up comedian guy who didn't buy anything and is gonna piss everybody off and is a fucking crazy weirdo. But that being said, I think that we have like gone out of our way to like be nice to comedy culture. And I don't know, maybe more so than poetry. I don't know. I mean, we get good poets, but it's you know, it'd be nice to get more. You know, it'd be nice to get more. I don't get to go around to open mics as much as I'd like. So anyway, last night, yeah, it was also a way of giving back. It's like, okay, last night, it's not like it wasn't busy. I mean, we always get, you know, at least 30, 35, 40 people. It wasn't super fucking packed or anything, but so it was like, okay, we got to start early. We got to start around like 8:40. So that means we had a little extra time. So I thought, you know, it's not super busy. The show kind of started off in a rough way. You know, we had some technical get to, so I just thought, you know what, okay, it's gonna be one of those nights. Let's get some people up early that maybe don't get to go early because they're here, and give them some more time. You know, like this one guy did 15 minutes or something. It's like, it's hard, you know, it's hard to police all that. It's hard to police, hey, get off the fucking stage. You know, I don't want to confront people in front of an audience. It's super awkward. You know, and I'm learning that as I go. You know, I'm learning group dynamics and how do you get people to trust you? How do you get people to feel safe? You know, I mean, with the thing with the drink throwing, it's like, did I handle that the right way? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, the people that were involved with that, they came for a little while and then they stopped. I mean, that's the nature of doing this, is just like most people gradually stop coming sooner. But is that my fault? Am I not doing a good enough job? That's like, you know, like this rooftop thing. We did it last year. I don't know. I don't think I had that many repeat acts. Did I have any repeat acts? You know, it's like everybody, Jason T. Cucker was at both, but he didn't perform yesterday or on Sunday. He's just the man. He just kind of supports. God bless Jason T. Cucker. He spends tons of money and he just watches. It's unbelievable. What a guy. And he's a great audience. He's probably seen more of my work than just, you know, because he's actually come to the readings and stuff. He came to stuff that just like nobody came to. He's seen System Lord, I think maybe once or twice. God, it's just a shame that people don't book System Lord. I mean, it is a goddamn shame. Like, book System Lord. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know? And I don't know, man. I feel like I've just got weird relationships with so many people. So it's hard. How do you know, like, is this an effort to control my public image, my reputation, or try to control the narrative? It's like, how do you shape the narrative? Or, you know, once you lose people's trust, or once you lose, you know, once people think a certain thing, or I don't know, it's just, to me, it's just like living in New York City is you know, I have to do things a certain way to just even stay here. And so I'd like to be a better guy and more supportive of other people and more out there and a part of everything. But I don't know. I don't know how to get out of the circumstances I'm in. You know, I don't know how to get a job. I don't want a job. Oh yeah, Kuzu Daddy went to Burning Man. He's back. Yesterday was our post Burning Man. I got to shout out Figment. Figment is amazing. Figment is an amazing human being. Figment not only sent me tons of videos from Sunday of System Lord and pictures, they brought a fucking top hat. It's the tallest top hat I've ever seen by far. They brought a top hat last night to the 100th episode celebration with a 100 on the top of it. It looks like fucking Butcher Bill's hat. If you watch the open mic video from last night, you'll see the top hat. It's incredible. I can't, because, I mean, Figment is great performer and super cool person. But I got to admit, I mean, I think they came to the open mic probably for the first time like a couple weeks ago. So they've come a few times, and I'm super glad they do because they're amazing. But what a huge gesture to bring that hat, and like, I mean, what a... It's like a Burning Man hat, kind of, you know? It's like a burner hat. You look like the Mad Hatter. I mean, it's fucking... It's got like structural reinforcement inside it. Apparently there's a serial killer in Brooklyn. I don't know if people have heard about this. Or there's like debate, is there a serial killer? Is there not a serial killer? Because apparently they found, I think, 3 young men's bodies washed up in Newtown Creek, which is sort of between, it's like over in Williamsburg. It's between Queens and Brooklyn. Brooklyn Mirage. These guys were leaving Brooklyn Mirage, and they ended up dead in Newtown Creek. Males in their 30s. So there's, you know, the serial killer is exclusively, I've never been to Brooklyn Mirage, but is the serial killer one of my ex-girlfriends? Is there, I think it's just somebody's fed up with white males in their 30s, and they just thought, I'm gonna kill these fuckboys. I'm gonna go to the Brooklyn Mirage. These fuckboys have gone too far. There's a few people I know that are potential suspects. There's definitely a few open micers that could be the Brooklyn serial killer. I don't mean to make light of it. I mean, are we in the 70s again? Are we in Brooklyn? Are we in, you know, first of all, the crime statistics are nowhere near what they were. You know, New York is still the safest big city. Even, I mean, serial killer or not. I never go to that part of Brooklyn, you know? It's like by Knockdown Center and Jefferson Stop, fucking House of Yes, Sultan Rooms over there. The serial killer's got taste. I shouldn't say that. That's fucked up. Well, I don't know. Those are the people. Those are the worst. It's like the worst hipster area. You know, it's like House of Yes is like the worst, like Burning Man, like trapeze artists, like rave, you know, warehouse EDM, poly. I guess everything's poly now, probably. I mean, if it's that strategized that it's like literally these guys are leaving Brooklyn Mirage, maybe it is some kind of like tweaked out ketamine hipster person that's like trying to be, you know, edgy or something. It's vintage. Serial killers are like vintage sort of at this point. It's like a throwback. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's horrible. It's awful. I never go there, you know. I go to this part of Manhattan. As far as I know, there's no serial killers here. I don't really go to those kind of events. I don't go to those like circus, situationist circus, like LSD, polyamorous, polymorphously perverse, soft party, suspension. Does anybody do suspension? They even did that in Columbus. I haven't seen any suspension in New York City. There used to be suspension in Columbus. But yeah, Brooklyn is, well, supposedly it's as bad as the 70s, but it's uninteresting. It doesn't have the pizzazz. It doesn't have the zest, the flavor. We're trying to keep the flavor. All I do is make bad flyers on my iPhone using my Apple text edit on the photo app. Helvetica. Everything I do is Helvetica. Is that cool? See, I find one thing that works and I just beat a dead horse. I don't know. I need some kind of new aesthetic. Does my poetry work in other fonts? Maybe my poetry only works in Helvetica. Maybe I'll sit over, or I don't know. I'll change the view a little bit for everybody. Refresh that view. I mean, I don't know. Is this therapeutic? People tuned out because I got bitter. I didn't mean it. You know, I don't know what happened. I was in an emotional gulch at the time. That's part of what's fascinating about doing this. It's just unedited, unadulterated, raw, unfiltered. I probably shouldn't be putting on the internet. There's less people in this park than normal. Well, it was a big weekend, so we had the marathon. I can't believe I'm even doing this now. I'll probably get no watch time in this, no hours, no statistics, no analytics. I'm playing Moneyball with my social media. I'm playing Moneyball with my social media and my career, my entertainment career. I'm a good Moneyball player. I'm on one of the best things on TikTok is Greg's Maddox. Greg Maddox TikTok is lit. There's these videos where they have a kind of a back and forth alternating shots of Greg Maddox and Barry Bonds, like going pitch by pitch through certain batting, when they faced off during games and shit. And it's fascinating hearing how they read each other. Because Greg Maddox really did not have like nasty stuff. He really had like pretty average stuff, but his placement or his mind for the game, he was able to get guys to hit exactly where it's like chess. He was playing chess, and Barry Bonds was playing chess. I mean, if you look at Barry Bonds' stats, they should just let all these juice heads in the Hall of Fame. It's absurd. It's like Trump. It's like he was in the White House. It's the same. This is America, okay? America is on steroids. Everybody's on HGH or I don't even know what they fucking use anymore. Creatine. Or at least during that era. Just acknowledge that they did it, and they all did it. Put McGwire in the Hall of Fame. Put Sammy Sosa in the Hall of Fame. Why the fuck not? Put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. It's absurd that Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame. Put the motherfucker in the Hall of Fame before he dies. Make an old fucking dirty bastard happy. Put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, this has been a bitter... People don't like realness and negativity, I guess. My bitterness about my, and nobody comes to my gigs. I guess my vibes aren't high enough. I'm not vibrating at a high enough frequency, I guess. What was I saying? What the hell was I just talking about? Oh, God. Oh, Greg Maddox. Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds' statistics are absolutely nuts. Like, just look it up. I mean, the dude, he's probably the greatest baseball player of all time. It's great. And not even, the steroids were not even the thing. The dude could just hit. He could do everything. He could steal bases. He was a five-tool player. And just give the man his laurels. Like, it's absurd. Put Roger Clemens in the Hall of... Put all these dirt bags. They should have a separate wing. Give them the asterisk. You know why it sucks? Because it's all sports writers. Everybody who votes for Cooperstown, it's just a bunch of weenies who never actually played the game. Roger Clemens would throw a baseball bat at him. He'd roid rage all over him. Not that I'm a fan of that. Fuck Roger Clemens. He's a real dickhead. but he should be in like a separate wing. They should build they should have like a trailer or something. No. Guy asked me for $10. Good for him. I mean, that's his style. I've seen him before. He asks for $5 usually, but hey, if you can get 10, why not? All right, what the hell else do we need to talk about? So yeah, yesterday it was it was a fun night. I thought it was a it's like that. It'd be like that sometimes, and you just get through it. You get through it. You do it. I don't know. How do you you got to be quick on your feet and recover from public embarrassment, I guess. We're in a time where it's like, you got to have a safe space. You got to protect the audience. And so maybe you should like really police your fucking scene or whatever. I guess I have a sentimental place for like edgy 90s bad boy style, I don't know, aesthetic. And that's just not what the kids these days are into. They're all into, safe spaces, and I definitely want people to feel safe. I don't want people to feel unsafe. What should I, should I come down hard? Should I come down hard on people? Should I drop the fucking hammer? Should I just hit the lights and hit the microphone and go, you're fucking done, get off the fucking stage? Should I start playing music? I could have done that last night. I could have played people off the stage. That was my big mistake last night. I have this great, on YouTube, there's this great Jerry Lewis telethon music. It's Charlie Chaplin's Smile. The song Charlie Chaplin wrote, it's called Smile. I don't know if people know this song. It's Michael Jackson's favorite song. Do you know this song, Smile? System Lord is hugely influenced by Corey Feldman. System Lord is very Corey Feldman coded. And we love Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson is great. His music is great. I mean, I shouldn't say that. See, you can't say this now. Like, my whole Woody Allen thing, it came on too strong, I'm on their side. I'm on the side of the sensitive, marginalized people. We're in this together. We're all in this together. Let's support each other. Let's love each other. We have to heal these stand-up comedians. Look how sick they are. Look how fucked up they are. We have to help these people. I think I just have this like terminally Catholic thing. I don't know why. I'm constantly thinking about why do I just drive things into the ground? Why am I a loser? Why do I have to be around losers? Why am I around people who are bad for me? Why do I avoid success? Why am I uncomfortable with success? It's like a Catholic thing in a certain way. As a Catholic, you're like trained to sympathize with like, that's why it's like bad programming. That's, with the internet and social media blowing the lid off things, and, you're realizing that like, or not even social media. It's just like, I don't know, fucking being radicalized or something. Reading fucking, intersectional or whatever, I don't know. It's just like, or even like new age stuff. It's like learning that just like you're taught to be self-destructive or to worship like being poor. Like, what's good about that? Why? Or I don't know. I'm surrounded by people who insist that it's like manifesting. You manifest whatever you think about. And so if you think about being like Jesus, is like you're supposed to be poor. That's what Jesus preached. It's like you're supposed to be poor. You're supposed to sympathize with the meek shall inherit the earth, right? Whatever the fuck that means. And so it's like, I don't know, anybody that's there. it's also like this aspect of like taking care of yourself or like having boundaries or like self-care. You know, like you hear, it's usually women that tell me that I need to have boundaries, but it's like, and I get why they have boundaries because they get a lot of unwanted attention or this or that. You know, they have to protect themselves. But also, like, you know, they've had to create those boundaries against, you know, things that are like demanding on them. For me, you know, I got to take what I can get. Or I don't know. It's just like, it's not that I don't want to have boundaries, but it's like I do want to support everybody. Maybe I am naive about who I trust or who I give the benefit of the doubt or who I platform, you know? Should I have gone out of my way to, I mean, I can't pretend to be like Mr. Edgy, cool, Bushwick, cutting edge, you know, progressive, you know. My politics are like Occupy Wall Street era cutting edge. You know? And so I try to be inclusive. I try to just be positive for everybody. Unless they do something really fucked up. You know, like there was some stuff last night that I was a little, you know, if somebody's like fucked up, I will not give them positive reinforcement. But if you bomb or whatever, you know, that's only natural. Happens to the best of us. It's part of the fun. There's an art to bombing. I don't know. I guess comedy is just, poetry world seems uptight to me, but then again, I think that's what it is. It's like a refuge for the uptight, or yeah, that's what like the art world is. It's like there is an aspect of like exclusivity built into it. You know, like it's not inclusive. That's what's so, you know, so awkward about the art world. Like, not that they really pretended they're inclusive. They target, like, inclusivity means a certain thing to the art world. It means cool people that look this way at this time. It's, you know, and it is very much like an in-group, out-group, like we are the cool, you know, like being you can usually recognize arty people because they look insufferably like over everything and like indifferent. They look so indifferent. And they're cool, their hair is cool, their clothes are cool, they're very demure. They're probably wearing, you know, they're a lot of them are, they have some kind of they have aesthetic, you know, so they know how to present themselves. But they're also very choosy. That's why they have aesthetic, because they curate the fuck out of everything. They're very picky. They pick their clothes, they pick their hair, they pick the people they hang out with. They'll judge you if you say something that's not cool or something, or if you make bad art. I don't know. There is a difference in people's minds between good art and bad art. And I don't really love those hierarchies. You know, I think there's a lot that can be learned from bad art. And, you know, Wesley Willis or fucking... I probably am in that. I feel like I'm in that. You know, I'm like the bunny guy on the train. If I had any courage, I'd be the bunny guy. Just doing my radio show out loud. He's not recording it or anything, he's just talking. And this girl's like, shut the fuck up. I'm a philosopher like Napoleon. The bunny guy. I mean, he's keeping it 100, okay? He's keeping it 100. We did 100 episodes, okay? That's no small... We can syndicate now. We're in King World. We're in Merv Griffin territory, everybody. You know, this is like going to be on, like, Jeopardy. We're going to be on UPN. We're going to be on the CW. We're syndicating the open mic. We're going to be on Laugh TV. We're going to be on Pix 11. We're going to be airing between America's Funniest Home Videos with Tom Bergeron and reruns of How I Met Your Mother. We're going to be on country music television. We're going to chop it up. We're going to... Oh, look at this. There's some kind of bike. There's some kind of annoying... what do they call these? Critical mass? Some kind of bike mob. I like the naked bike rides better. We're gonna chop the open mic up into highlight reels, where it's like we'll have a music compilation. That'll be one episode. We'll have like a stand-up episode. Live at the Improv. The best of Easy Paradise comedy. You know, the best of Easy Paradise country music style. We'll have the best of poetry, the best performance art, the best clowning. You know, we'll have the best opening monologues. You know, weird shit, crowd work. The Peter Glissman episode. We'll do individual episodes. We'll have an Angel Lugo episode. The Eras Tour. The Open Mic Eras Tour. We'll do the early days. You know, I'm sorry to anybody that I've pissed off or alienated or offended, or they think I'm a petty man, a little man, if I have a Napoleon complex. I apologize. I apologize to RTS Neutral, Hoffman. I apologize to Joseph and the Severe Dudes. I apologize to, who else have I made it awkward with? All the poetry people everywhere. Everybody in the poet chat. I'm sorry I made it weird. I don't know. I don't know how to keep things exciting for people. How do I keep it exciting? I don't know. The rooftop show it was my way of giving back. The telethon is my way of giving back to the people that give so much. You know, you guys make it transactional. You guys make it happen, you know, and you guys are the thing. That's what's so, you know, that's why I love it so much as a form, because it is just like this big rhizome that's like moving where everybody's a part of this. The audiences, I don't know, in New York are just, they're either tourists, like that Gong Show. It's like they were all from Florida. Everybody's from Florida. They go to University of Florida. They're hyper-Christian. They're all, you know, they're right-wing. They're analysts. They're consultants. I don't want to make these people laugh. I want to perform to artists and poets and thinkers, you know. And so at the open mic, you have an audience full of creative people, full of artists, full of poets. We're poets, poets, poets. We're comedians, 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 okay? We appreciate John King. We appreciate, I mean, Sparrow, come on. The fact that we have Sparrow come out, it's unbelievable. He is not, he had a funny thing. I was lucky enough, I was blessed, I went and got, well, I had water. That was all we ordered. We went to this place, Juju Cafe. By Bergenstop. We were going to meet at Bergenstop. It was the hottest day. It was 93 degrees. Every other day has been beautiful. That day was 93 fucking degrees. It was like the hottest day of the year. So we meet at Bergenstop. He's wearing a sweater. He's wearing a sweater. It's like black, you know, pants, a hat. It's like he's not sweating, or he's got a full beard, long hair. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's 93 degrees. You're wearing a fucking sweater and... It's like, what is this, a Sahara? So we're looking around. I was like, maybe we should go to Dunkin' Donuts. Maybe we should go here. He sees Juju Cafe because it says Juju. So he hones in on that. Juju, that's interesting. So I thought, okay, let's do this. That's right. This guy, he's a poet, you know. He's Sparrow. You know, he knows how to find. He's got like, you know, some kind of magnetic honing device in his brain that the rest of us don't have. He's got an inner compass. So we go to Juju Cafe. He tells me how he seceded from poetry. He seceded from poetry. I think he doesn't like the uptightness. Well, I don't know. It's just the hard line. There is like a aspect of being canceled, but it's more like a personal reputation thing. It's not really like a... It's more like, well, this person is just not valuable to the image we're trying to promote, and so we don't need them. What are they doing here? They're just like some, you know, they'll never be the center of this. It's about us. We are the art world. We are the poetry world. We're the only fucking people that matter. We're the only people that really know how to write poetry. Or we're the only people with good opinions about art, or at least these are my people, and we're in New York, and we have our little philosophy about how to do things, or we see eye to eye, or there's like a, I don't know. I'd like to be better at doing Brooklyn poetry stuff, you know. I've conducted a nice career that I'm proud of over the last couple of years. Reading at Unnameable, reading for Greetings, reading for David Kirschenbaum, curating. I got Boog City coming up, so this is a very exciting month. Actually, I mean, I'm reading September 11th. I'm doing a featured set. I'm the featured act on 9/11. I'm the perfect guy for the 9/11 featured set. Okay, I'm going to read all of my 9/11 poems. I've probably mentioned 9/11 a lot, so I'm going to read all of my 9/11 poems on 9/11. No, I'm going to do something tasteful because it's 9/11. It's New York. It's not a joke to people here. I mean, especially out in that area of Queens, I'm sure it's not a joke. It's at the Goodfellas Bar. I'm the featured act at the Goodfellas Bar on 9/11. What could be more fucking hardcore than that? What could be more badass than that? The stars have aligned. I'm the featured act at the Goodfellas Bar on 9/11, everybody. So you got to come out for that. And then I've curated a set at Boog City. It's September 21st, I think, at, I forget what the place is called, Block Island or something, Castle Hill, I don't remember. I'll send information, but I've got exciting readers. I've got Ashley reading, Jay Gaunt, Monique Erickson, James Barrickman, and Teresa Gelsomini. So it'll be a nice hour-long thing people can check out. It'll be cool. It'll be good, curated. I was stoked to do it, and I'm really happy that everybody agreed. I'm honored that David Kirschenbaum. I'm terrible at email. He's like really good at emailing, and I should probably just devote my life to email, because I'd probably get waved. That's the bane of this generation. Is the only people that are going to remember are the people who are good at email. Just maneuver your way into grad school, maneuver your way into publications, maneuver people, just email. I hate fucking email. I do all my important communication through live stream. You have to watch my live stream to get any kind of personal message. This is the Bill Murray approach, the Bill Murray philosophy of being hard to reach. I saw this meme, different neighborhoods in Columbus that are Bill Murray, different Bill Murrays. Clintonville was Life Aquatic. So I curated Boog City. So I've had an exciting, but I don't get around as much as I would like to. I'm on the internet. I'm live on YouTube. You got to catch me on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Just come to Bleecker Park. If you come to Bleecker Park at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, I'm probably doing this. And you get it live. Not that anybody gives a fuck. Is Adam S. watching? Adam S., are you Adam Sandler? I've got Adam S. in the comments. He's one of my regulars on the live stream. We love Adam S. Is Adam S. Adam Sandler? Has Adam S. been Adam Sandler the whole time in my comments? I have to ask him next time. Maybe Adam S. is one of my few fans out there on the internet. When I was a kid, my mom used to always say about my little brother, she'd be like, you should have a radio show. Or, she'd say that about... And then there was this website in, probably the 90s, actually. It was, probably 98, 99. Maybe 2000. There was this website where you could program your own radio station on Real Player. I don't know if people remember Real Player. Real ones remember Real Player. But that was, the original streaming. Real Player was, anything that was, live on the internet, there were podcasts, sort of. I remember I used to listen to Lance Storm who was a professional wrestler, had a weekly show that you could listen to on Real Player. You wouldn't necessarily have to listen to it live. You could get it off a website, but it was like it streamed to you. So it'd be like an hour long, and it might buffer or whatever. But it wasn't like, downloading an MP3 in those days. You download like one song at a time because you can only get like 5 fucking megabytes at a time or whatever it was. It was still it was like Napster era when Real Player was like a thing. And, it wasn't that good at live stuff, but like listening to stuff later, Lance Storm, I'd listen to it. That was like a podcast, basically. He'd talk about whatever was going on. They do shoot interviews, basically, which is what they do now. All these wrestling guys have got weekly, they all have their own fucking podcast. Kevin Nash has a fucking podcast. JR's got a podcast. Cornette's got a podcast, like Eric Bischoff's got a fucking podcast, like fucking who is it? Travis fucking Kelsey and his brother have got a fucking huge podcast. So it's like there was this website in the 90s or circa Y2K where you could program a radio station, and really all you could do was like you'd pick songs like off a list, and then you could like stream your playlist basically live. But there was always a fantasy. We watched this episode of Pete and Pete the other day. I don't know if people remember Pete and Pete, but you got to watch Pete and Pete. It is the best children. I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily call it a children's show. It kind of predates Wes Anderson and Napoleon Dynamite by a lot. It was way before Wes Anderson. It was probably 5, 6, 7 years before Wes Anderson really honed his aesthetic. But it's very similar. There's a narrator. It's very presentational. Everything is hyper, kind of, but it still feels very vibrant. It's not choked with that like Wes Anderson stuff. And to be honest, the writing in Pete and Pete the show is just firing on all cylinders. I don't even know how they did it. The creativity on that show is unmatched. Like the shot making, the lighting, the dialogue, it's all the acting, like it's the music, it's all fucking there on Pete and Pete. It's all on YouTube. I encourage people to watch The Adventures of Pete and Pete. But there's this episode, it's the season finale of the first episode. It's the one I remember the most, probably, from childhood seeing it. And there's an episode where Pete hears a song. He has a radio station, right? He's got like a radio station in his basement or something, where he's got like a walkie-talkie, and he's got like an antenna on his fucking house where he like broadcasts his radio station to like the neighborhood, And when I was a kid, that was like the fantasy. This was before YouTube. This was, there was public access. Public access was probably like the closest real life thing to that, where you could like get on TV in like the local area. But, there was no real way to distribute what you were doing other than that, unless you got on the actual radio somehow, or the actual TV somehow. It was still all gate kept by legacy media type things and bigger distribution systems, So the idea of putting an antenna on your house and hosting like a radio show from your bedroom or whatever, that's what I wanted to do when I was 12 or 13. It was like I wanted to write plays basically and do them on the fucking radio attached to my house to like a broadcast of like, I don't know, however many you could get. And so that's what YouTube is, really. That's what this is. I still haven't figured out a better way. I'm still just like very rudimentary, lazy. Well, I never, at that time it was impossible. There was no streaming really. You could get like a webcam. They were very primitive webcams, but I don't even think they really would do you know, the video there was a lot of lag. There was a lot of buffering. I mean, we were still in 56K. You know, we were in the 56K 90s. It really wasn't until the late 90s that cable, and to be honest, I don't know, has the internet gotten that much faster? I think the internet's been about the same speed since like the 2000s maybe. I mean, has it gotten better than broadband? I mean, there's Fios obviously, but how many people actually have that? I mean, we can do this. There's 5G. So now I can do my live fucking podcast studio from Bleecker Park, from the Marc Jacobs bookstore. We're live from Bookmark, the Marc Jacobs bookstore, everybody. It's like when like sports radio shows, like AM sports radio shows, they do like their broadcast live from like a restaurant. It's like, we're live from Damon's Wings. We're live from, what was that fucking place? We used to go to this place and play trivia when I was a kid. It was my favorite fucking thing. I think it was called Damon's. It was a rib place. They had barbecued ribs, but they had these giant fucking TV screens. They were like projector TVs. You know, this is the 90s, right? Before HD, before flat screens, they had and so they had 4 big-ass projector TVs, and they'd be showing different, you know, they'd be showing all the games, because it's a sports place. You get ribs, you know, you like got a bib and shit, wet naps, moist towelettes. And so it was like, as I was such a video kid, it was the ultimate thing for me, where it's like, oh my God, there's 4 TVs and there's trivia. I love trivia. And I kicked ass, you know, I was good at it. And so you had like one of those little like fucking, you know, keyboards or whatever. You punch in the fucking, you know, you had like a remote control fucking, what do they call those things? It's not a kiosk. There's got to be a name for that. I'm sure there's a name for that. What are the trivia keyboard things called? I'm sure there's a name for that. Oh, see, I started my broadcast off bitter. I scared everybody away with my bitterness and my truth, my fire-breathing dragon energy. So I love doing trivia. You know, it was that one where it's like the points would go down and then they'd kind of get rid of some of the answers so you could guess. They'd narrow down the choices. So if you're an idiot, you could still get some stuff right. You'd put like a fake name, you know, you'd have like some kind of alias or something, because you'd enter your name in the, I love that shit. Going to Damon's, getting chicken parmesan or whatever, chicken fingers, playing trivia, and then there's, you know, NFL football on or whatever. Not that I was that into football, but you know, for the family. In the Midwest, that's what you do. That's what people do. That's like fancy. My brother had he had his wedding reception I had my graduation party at the Buckeye Hall of Fame Cafe. That's where we did everything. My family, that's where we did every like formal fucking, I think I had my college graduation there. No, my college graduation was at my aunt's party house, but every formal thing we ever did was like, we'll do it at the Buckeye Hall of Fame Cafe. It's basically like a huge arcade with a bunch of football trophies and uniforms and shit. It's like memorabilia. There's a bunch of like OSU sports memorabilia. And so that was like, that's, you know, there's Catholicism, there's Buckeyes. That's the Midwest, you know. And then like art is like dangerous, you know. It's a hobby, but you don't want to get too into it. You have to be obsessed with college football and going to sports bars where they serve tons of beer on tap. It's like, you know, and getting, you know, ribs or some kind of, you know, buffalo wings, ranch sauce, blue cheese dressing, barbecue, something, you know, barbecue. Those were the days. The Buckeye Hall of Fame Cafe. Is there an equivalent in New York? I don't even know what the fuck it is. I guess it'd be, is there a Yankees restaurant or something? Bubba Gump Shrimp, maybe? I don't know. What's the upscale Buckeye Hall of Fame Cafe? Does Jeter have a restaurant? Yeah, so we'd go and we'd play video games. Why the fuck did I start talking about that? Why did I start talking about the bug out? I think this guy lives in this park because every time I do a live stream, I think he's playing soccer in this park. I mean, I love homeless people, but like, we need to find these people houses. We need, like, rehabilitate, get the fucking, you know, I should run for mayor of New York because the fucking, there are a few laws that are really fucking this city up big time. You know, the fact that so much retail is empty, it's destroying New York. And it's because the landlords can write it off. It's they make more money keeping it empty and waiting for a high rent tenant to fill the space. The government should change whatever that is, whatever tax loophole that is. There should be a vacancy tax on empty apartments. So if you're rich and you don't actually live here, you should have to pay a tax for that. And these rent-stabilized buildings that are just like empty because the landlords won't rehabilitate them, like figure out a way to buy them from the landlords and give them to people. You know, give them to homeless people, give them to artists. You know, the government should just take these rent-stabilized fucking... There's, you know, I see videos of like, oh, there's a rent-stabilized apartment building, you know, in the Bronx or wherever. You know, they're all over the city that are just falling apart because it costs so much money to fix them but they can't raise the rent to pay for it. So the landlords don't want to fix it. And so these places just stay empty because they're not inhabitable. They're not up to code or whatever. So it's like, just buy it from the fucking landlord and give it to some artist to fix or something, you know, like that, like with Elizabeth Street Garden, right? The big controversy, they want to get rid of Elizabeth Street Garden, and because they want to put affordable housing. I think maybe I talked about this last time, but like, I seriously doubt it's affordable housing. It's just going to be some kind of crappy new glass shit. You know, a lot of these rent-stabilized buildings are good buildings. It's just they're falling apart. They're like the East Village was, right? It's like, it's good bones. They got steam heat. They got hardwood floors. They got all the nice, you know, infrastructure that New York has. I mean, New York has good bones. That's why it's the best city in America, frankly. Because it's not just a car parking lot like every other fucking city. All right, I'm gonna get moving in a second. It's getting dark here in Bleecker Park. There's pandemonium at Magnolia Bakery. Look, there's a riot at Magnolia Bakery. You know, one thing, I don't know if I should say this, maybe this is in poor taste, but like, I am proud that we do get like really great queer artists at open mic at KGB. I do want to shine a spotlight on the queer artists. Because like my thing is, I just don't feel like it's appropriate for me to brand things in that way. I don't necessarily want to put too fine of a point on it by being like, oh, we're this or we're that, or we're safe space or blah, blah, blah. You know, I try to be friendly, definitely, and welcoming, and especially welcoming to people that are, you know, in sensitive areas or groups or what have you. But I will say that, like, they are among our most, like, consistent and best acts, you know, and just, like, friendly, cool parts of what make it great. Is this awkward? We want to thank the queer community. No, well, they're not sensitive, I guess, is part of what I'm trying to say. You know,
I have a story to tell you.
And that's kind of interesting. They're the people that get offended, or the people that don't come back, you know, it almost feels like a privilege that they're getting offended or something. You know, it's curious to me, right? Who is sensitive, you know, and who is trying to control what you can and can't say. I don't know. I just think we're ready. We're ready for a time that's more liberated and more free. I mean, people need to be not as. But I don't know. I mean, at the same time, like stand-up comedy makes it obvious, like the effects on people's mental health or something, or it's just like it magnifies or it exposes like it's like pulling a log up and seeing all the maggots and stuff that are underneath. It's like, you know, stand-up comedy kind of like puts all this stuff in your face where it's like, how do we deal with this? How do we deal with the fact that people think this way or think this is appropriate? I mean, I'm trying to expose them to poetry. Maybe it can heal them. That's the, you know, that's the vaccine. Take the vaccine.
Yeah, just walking back to the hotel.
Get inoculated.
Yeah, I just want to see.
I don't know. Has this been one of my weirdest broadcasts? I'm sorry. This is like hour 96 for me, okay? This is day 3 of the marathon. We're going to keep marathoning just all week. I'm going to go home. When my battery dies, I'm going to go home. I'm going to keep live streaming. I'm going to live stream all day tomorrow, all day the next day. Let me talk about the Jerry Lewis telethon, because that is essentially what we're mimicking or paying tribute to. I just enjoy it. I mean, Jerry Lewis, okay, is another figure, problematic. He was apparently sort of a Weinstein-like figure where he would force people to have sex with him. I don't know. I don't know exactly the extent or what the specific. I did watch an interview with the woman. I think she said he kissed her. I'm not sure exactly what else happened. But he was the director and she was in the movie or something. So it was a very, you know, different power dynamic. And so he's a scumbag. Fuck Jerry Lewis. I don't know. But, and the thing is, okay, I've never even seen that many Jerry Lewis movies. The only Jerry Lewis movie, I've seen The Nutty Professor. I think I've seen maybe the one where he is like a caddy or something. There's one where he's a caddy, I think. And then I've seen King of Comedy. King of Comedy is really the only, and he's in Mr. Saturday Night with Billy Crystal. He has a very, very small part in that. It's literally a cameo. So it's really, I like him in King of Comedy, and I like him in Mr. Saturday Night, and I like his, you know, his personal kind of way that he carries himself and the way that he talks and moves. I just find really, I don't know, fascinating. I like that he is this auteur, you know, where he directed and he learned about film. He was a professor of film. He wrote his movies, he directed his film, you know, he's a mime, you know. He's a live performer, you know. He sings, he writes music. I don't know. His son is in a great band that I love, Gary Lewis and the Playboys, one of my favorite bands of all time. Although I think it was really Leon Russell playing a lot of that shit. And Tulsa, people from Tulsa. The nexus of all creativity from the 60s, Tulsa, Oklahoma. American creativity. Gary Lewis and the Playboys, one of the all-time great bands. But I haven't, you know, I'm not really like a huge fan of his like lady thing. That's not really what I'm into. I'm into like his later, where he's just more kind of, I don't know. So the telethon is this amazing, epic, you know, it's like Brecht. It's like 90 hours. I don't even know. It's all fucking day, Labor Day. And when I was a kid, it was one of the last things that was sort of like that. You know, it was like, maybe I'll start moving. Oh, I just like sitting though. I'm enjoying sitting. Let me explain this to you. I'm explaining the telethon. I do got to go get sushi though. So I do got to kind of, let me start moving. Before my shit dies, I just want to get some more, I want to bookend it with some more scenery for everybody. Rather than just looking at Bleecker Park the whole freaking broadcast. Go to the next 4th Street. Do I have all my shit? Yeah, so the telethon, you know, it was one of the last things where you could kind of see the old show business. It's sort of vaudeville-y. It's sort of like a burlesque show in certain ways. And he curates the acts really well. You can tell he picks the people, and he does. I mean, Jerry Lewis, he's got a genius, you know, for something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like he was a very highly functioning, you know, intelligent rapist. No, I shouldn't use that word. I don't know. Comedians just throw that word around. Well, the accusations are. I don't know what the accusations. I'm just kidding. I don't know. This is this is the broadcast that's going to get me canceled. My live stream got canceled, everybody. YouTube canceled my live stream. Even though you're able to do it, they just said, no, you're canceled. We don't need it anymore. Please stop. We'll go up the Sex in the City street for everybody. Let's have a little Sex in the City moment. What do you say? We're going to go by Carrie Stoop. Is that her name? What's her name? Carrie Bradshaw, right? Like Terry Bradshaw? Is she related to Terry Bradshaw? Is Carrie Bradshaw the Terry Bradshaw of women? Is Carrie Bradshaw Terry Bradshaw for women, or is Terry Bradshaw Carrie Bradshaw for men? I think they're like mirror images in our universe. This is the parallel universe where Carrie Bradshaw and Terry Bradshaw are equals. Let's see if this fucking thing works. Hopefully they don't have some kind of blocker on my streamer. Yeah, the telethon. Yeah, Kevin Meaney on the telethon, Martin Short. I remember seeing Martin Short on the telethon, Jimmy Glick. He's good with music, the songs he picks, the materials he picks. You can tell he puts a lot of work into that telethon. And it's an interesting work in and of itself. It's live, obviously, you know, which, like, you know, there's not that much live entertainment on TV, really. It's Saturday Night Live. What else? You know, most shows are scripted. So you're seeing live performers, right? Which I love. I love this sort of cabaret, vaudeville, 5-minute long set. Are these guys at Running Club? Can you be a 3-person running club? How many people does it take to be a running club? When does it become a club? I got an open mic post with a running club motif. I think this is the Bradshaw stoop right here. I think this is this Sex in the City stoop. It's one of these fucking stoops. Oh, people in the West Village hate it more than anybody. They really get annoyed when you're live streaming their neighborhood. They fucking hate it. Malcolm Gladwell shot me an angry look once when he saw me live streaming. He saw my iPhone tripod and he was like, what the fuck? He's like, are you serious? He had a look like, are you fucking serious? You got an iPhone tripod in my neighborhood that I pay, you know, $5,000 a month or whatever to live in? Hey, fuck you, Malcolm Gladwell. I made less than $10,000 every year of my life. Oh man, Extra Virgin closed. This restaurant was great. It really sucks that this place closed. Like, what are they going to put in there that's going to be better than that? There's no way they're going to put anything better than what was there. Like, they'll probably renovate it. They'll probably put some ugly fucking millennial restaurant with like ugly millennial neon cursive. I can insult millennials because I'm in an age gap relationship.
Like young kids, right? Kids.
Like, you know, I'm culturally, technically a Gen Z, sort of. Just kidding. Is that fucked up to say, hey, this is blue. I'm doing my blue material today, okay? This is my late night set, okay? You need to watch this at 4 a.m. This is hot stuff here, okay, everybody? Yeah, so they'll probably renovate it and make it. Every one of these restaurants got babies in it. Baby Braza. Baby's all right. Even Little Ruby's kind of has a baby. And it's all in like this pink cursive, like neon fucking baby. Like, how about you get a fucking original idea? Everything looks like goddamn California. It looks like a taco stand. Every fucking new restaurant looks like some kind of like, oh, it's we got tacos and margaritas. I don't know. The transplantification. All the natives left New York. All the people like me came and colonized, took it over. All the Buckeye fans. All the college football fanatics. So yeah, the telethon. There's an article by Harry Shearer about the telethon. I really should read it because it's well written. I had it I had it as a tab. I had 100 fucking tabs open. It was one of my tabs forever, but I didn't read it. Yeah, see, like that ugly. This is an Australian restaurant, I guess. I just want to say you should boycott Australian restaurants. They're taking over New York. They're transplanting the transplants. They're out gentrifying the gentrifiers. The Australians is a secret takeover. See, it's Rupert Murdoch. It's Fox News. They want to distract you. They want to say, hey, look at all the migrants in the hotels. It's the Australians, okay? It's not the people in the hotels. It's the Australians. They're the ones who are taking over. They're the ones who are secretly taking our country over. Rupert Murdoch. That apartment I lived in Chelsea. This woman who got her name on the lease was Australian. She had a house. She owned a fucking house in Australia. And she had to steal that apartment from me. Just a poor artist. Just a poor artist. Trying to support the poetry community in New York City. This is one of the exciting things about, this is one of the exciting things about live streaming live from the New York City streets is people die and the ambulances are sent and you hear that shit right in the middle of it. Or I don't know, I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating. Here's Stonewall, everybody. This is Stonewall National Monument, everybody. Pay your respects right there, bam. Monument to gayness. We love it. I've been there, it's great. Okay, what else was I gonna say? Look at this beautiful little restaurant. Oh yeah, you gotta get the Belly app where you rate different restaurants. It's a gamification of dining. It's a gamification of everything. We need an app for open mic where you can like rate open mics, do reviews, swipe on other open micers. They need some kind of swiping app for open micers. Open mics are run clubs for intellectuals.
No.
I don't know. Is this the future? Just everybody's going to be like creating these groups online where they meet in person? Is that the new thing? It's just like, oh, we're a run club. Oh, we're open mic. Oh, we're going to meet we're going to use the web to organize similar interests or I don't know. I guess that's like meetup.com, but what is it about run clubs? I don't know. I guess it's like a surrogate, some kind of. This is my favorite street in New York, but there's always people doing heroin on it now. There's always people shooting up on this street, so I don't walk down it anymore. I used to walk down that. This is the best corner in New York, right here. Probably right here. I would say that is the best corner of New York, right there. Joe Coffee. And I get it. It's a good place to do heroin. Like, it makes sense. If I was a fucking heroin addict, I mean, that's why I walk down the street every day. I'd be smoking weed walking down the street. They're doing heroin. That's fine. That's their choice. That's what they do. It's their habit. So, more power to them. We celebrate you, and okay, what else? I guess we'll go down 6th Avenue for a second. Oh shit. Alright, what the hell else? Okay, the telethon. I'll just close. I'm just gonna babble about the telethon. Not that anybody gives a fuck. Well, it's obsolete. Did they do it? I don't even think they do it anymore. I mean, Jerry Lewis died. He stopped doing it, I think, in 2009, which is kind of fucking nuts if you think about it. When I was, okay, the best years, I think I was probably 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade. For some reason, that era of my life, I guess, is coming back to me today. There must be some kind of astrological return or something. He had like some kind of surgery or something. I think he had a heart surgery. Well, that was the other thing with Jerry Lewis is The Simpsons a lot of times would reference Jerry Lewis, like Krusty the Clown. A lot of the things that were like a characteristic of Krusty, they ripped from Jerry Lewis. Like he had a pacemaker or something, he had a bypass. Or Seinfeld, same thing. It's like there's that episode where they talk about Jerry Lewis put the fucking tape recorder in his briefcase. So it was more like that kind of stuff. I was like, okay. And then this year he had some kind of surgery or something. I don't remember. So he had this fucking medication or something that made him like, you know, kind of gain a bunch of weight. So he looked like a fucking hamster on the telethon. But he was still Jerry Lewis, and, you know, he looked like Buddha or something. Which made it even funnier. You know, that you're like, Jesus Christ. Look at fucking Jerry Lewis. All right, we'll go by the Taylor Swift carriage house. We'll never have Cornelia Street again, says Taylor Swift. Well, we're going to have it tonight, everybody. On the live stream. Just for you. This is an exclusive. We're going to walk down Cornelia Street. Hopefully nobody's doing heroin. I mean, the Taylor Swift townhouse is here, so I think it's kind of policed. They have to protect those people. That's a huge part of the New York economy now, is basic bitches, Taylor Swift, Swifties. You know, that's like, that powers a lot of the bougiest parts of New York. It's like varying degrees of sophisticated, you know, Swift appreciation, sophistication, myself included. I'm a gentrifying Swiftie. What can I say? I was one of the early waves. I was in the advanced guard of the suburban white people from, you know, swing states who took over New York, who gentrified. Well, I don't know. I'm kidding. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. People are starting to complain about it on TikTok, and they should. But it's too late. It was a real estate scheme, you know? They flipped Brooklyn, just like a house. You know? They made Brooklyn the cool place to live. It's cooler now to live in Brooklyn. Nobody lives in Manhattan. A bunch of kids in college. And Republicans whose parents pay for everything. In Dime Square. Who want to cosplay like they're blue collar or something. So Manhattan is like uncool. It's you know, it's a museum city. It's just like the idea of it's just like what I use it for. You know, it's like a set. It's an idea. It's like going to the fucking back lot or something, you know? That's basically what it is. It's a back lot. You know how you go to Hollywood studios and they've got like a fake Western town, a fake New York fucking town, like on that whole fucking show was shot on a fucking one block in NBC studios. New York is the greatest like backlot you could ever possibly ask for your life. There's just so many amazing set piece possibilities here. It's just but I'd really like to go on tour. You know, we got to blow this thing up. I don't know how it's going to happen. We got to break through. We got to believe. We got to believe we're going to break through somehow. We're going to spread the open mic revolution. We're going to, if Kill Tony can do it, we have to believe in the good nature of people and in the elevation of their consciousness. Sooner or later, people are going to see what we're doing, and they're going to want us to come to their cities, and they're going to listen. You know, was this a mistake to listen to this? I'm wrapping it up. My phone is winding down power-wise. I think this was edifying. You know, I got emotional. I got pissy. The telethon. Okay, so maybe I'll talk about the telethon. Let me stay on focus on subject here. Yeah, and so, it's also, I think, you know, that day, television-wise, was like just dead. You know, like Labor Day was just like a day where just like there was nothing. There's no sports. You know, everybody's sort of like, I don't even know, getting the last of the summer or whatever they're doing, you know. They're driving home from wherever they were. Or they're just resting, maybe, I guess. And so Jerry Lewis said, we'll take that, you know, we'll do a telethon, blah, blah, blah. We'll take that day. And I don't know, it just feels right. Last year, I had done all these shows during the summer concert series. And I wouldn't say they were, you know, they were like about any show that I do. It's usually the people that are on the show and then like a handful of other people who just like out of the goodness, you know, girlfriends, cool people like Jason T. Cooker, heads, you know, serious heads, heavy people like Jason T. Cooker. But like, you know, people remember those shows. I've had people mention them about, hey, when are you going to do that again, or blah, blah. And I don't know, there was a little bit more of a feeling like of an ongoing group that rolled into the end of summer thing. So the Labor Day telethon is just a way to sort of cap and recap, summarize, send off, kiss the summer on its way. You know, because it's kind of the end of summer. I mean, especially in New York, it's like fucking school starts. Okay, all these people are, you know, fucking school starts. You can feel, you know, New York, it does feel like there's like corners of the year where the weather, like this week, it's like 70 degrees the whole fucking week. It's like beautiful. But that's, you know, it's been summertime up until that corner of the year. And, you know, I've had this relationship with the local hostel. They're easy to work with. They don't demand a cover charge. They got a bar if they want to sell drinks, whatever. And they just kind of let you run the show. Although their PA was kind of a piece of, I mean, it was all over the place. They didn't really have the right cables. Shit was cutting in and out. Whenever I smile and laugh, it's because I'm trying to flood myself with positive endorphins because I'm nervous or I'm scared or I'm intimidated or something. So I'm going, haha. So I'm flooding myself with positive endorphins. There's Comedy Shop right there. They should let us book the fucking open mic there. keep that shit rocking. We do a great show at Comedy Shop. It's my dream to promote shows on McDougal Street, Bleecker. I wish they'd let me in. I wish they weren't such snobs. They're all audio snobs. Yeah, so I don't know. It's not easy to find venues. System Lord's gotten kicked out of places. Venues were not happy with the amount of people I brought in or the amount of money or whatever. Well, it's not that they don't bring people in, but they don't always buy stuff. You know, I don't like pressuring people to spend money at all. I don't want them to have to pay a cover charge. I don't want them to buy anything. Maybe that's why, you know, so yeah, I don't know. It's just a nice way to, you know, I like to think by filming this stuff, by putting pictures up, by inviting a lot of people on, that we're just sending out like big waves of activity, you know, like whoever wants to pick up on it can pick up on it. But it's like it's out there, you know, like I think like almost 90 people have clicked the fucking video for the telethon, you know. Maybe that's not huge amounts of people, but it echoes, you know. People who weren't there can check it out. Think about if there were 90 people on that roof watching the show. You know, it's like that would be a big crowd, really. And so, you know, the videos, every couple of my videos will get 200 views. I mean, the fucking open mic for Ashley's birthday got 200 views. I don't know if that's because she shared it or what. People keep clicking that open mic. I'm not sure why. So it's like, I don't know, you can feel, or even like with this, right? That's why I love doing this, because you can just kind of feel the ripples of, you know, whatever. It just helps communicate. You know, whatever you're trying to communicate, it's hard to get the stage time to do that because the venues are under so much pressure to make money, and you're under so much pressure to make money for them. You got to sell tickets, you got to sell drinks, you got to exploit your friends, you got to exploit people you don't even know. They want to be exploited, some of them. If you don't exploit them, they're going to feel cheap.
How do you say that, Kristen?
They want to spend money.
And she was like,
You know, that's the audience we're trying to tap into. People who want to spend money. You know, if you don't charge them a bunch of money, they get like insulted. Like, what do you think I am? Poor? This must be garbage if you're not charging me a bunch for it. This must be not worth having. You know, you got to have expensive things. You want the finer things. That's what we sell at KGB Red Room. We sell luxury. We're a luxury brand, okay? We're the Louis Vuitton of open mics. We're the Cartier. We're the Tiffany. We're the Supreme. I don't know. I'm just kidding, of course. Probably more likely, we're like the Mercedes. We're the Mercedes. We're the Mercedes of open mics. Old, but still running. Still classic. The international choice. This place looks nice. What's that? Is that Jeff Bezos? It looks like some kind of celebrity power dinner in there. There was some bald guy with a microphone. He looked like either some kind of finance criminal or I don't know. They had that, what's this thing where it's like the rich people laugh? The way that rich people laugh is like they have this like big open-hearted, open-mouthed laugh. I guess I probably have the opposite of that. I have extreme poor person laugh. It's where you like giggle nervously to yourself every few things you say because you have no confidence, because you're neurotic, because you're insecure. There's nothing worse for a man than being insecure. There's no bigger turnoff than being insecure. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to keep going. I'm going to keep going until 10%. I'm going to keep going until I got 10%. Maybe I'll stop for a second. This is a nice little journey, though. This is like Lord of the Rings, right? We were walking across. I would love it if all stand-up comedians sounded like Spalding Gray. That's my dream. I'm trying to cultivate a, you know... You know, there's that Ted Berrigan line about he wants to be a part of every scene because that's the most interesting. He wants to be friends with all poets because that's the most interesting. What is this? Is this some kind of stupid celebrity thing here? I wish I was that. And I try to be that way. You know, with my open mic, I try to welcome every style. You know, I'll never, like, alienate somebody because of like the way they write poetry. You know, I just accept that people are doing it. Although I feel like I have noticed that, particularly since the pandemic and maybe even more recently, it's like become cool to be a poet. It's like a thing that like a lot of Gen Z people identify as like poets, which I find interesting. You know, I think that's one reason why these open mics are like thriving. Because it's sort of uncovering, like, whoa, there's a lot of people doing this. You know, it isn't like this hidden Emily Dickinson thing in a fucking closet or something that, like, nobody cares about or nobody does. It's like, wait a minute. All of these fucking young people are, like, poets. They're writing poetry. They want it, you know, their fucking Instagram name is, like, such and such Kim Poet, you know, whatever. Poet. It's like, okay, why? How? Because you did a fucking few open mics? Like, that's fine. I'm down. But I do, you know, I think there's something happening here, you know, is what I'm trying to underline. I think the smartphone, obviously, is just like such the ultimate poetry. The eye, it's so subjective. It's such a pocket notebook. It's so lyrical. You know, the iPhone is so lyrical, man. Just, you know, going on these revelries, these rhapsodies through the city, musing, getting lost in the kind of delirium of the boulevards. And the endless labyrinth of, you know, side streets and back streets and front streets and round streets. And Twitter, obviously, right? We're still in like this weird kind of like text phase of the internet. We're like, not all communication has become video all the fucking time for everything. You know, there's still like people sending each other texts, people sending each other DMs. The internet's still like this primitive thing. I mean, we think of it as so advanced, but like, you know, these things in our pockets are really just like little video radios. It's almost just like having Dick Tracy's watch. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I loved the movie Dick Tracy. It was one of my first favorite movies. It was at Christmas. I was obsessed with Dick Tracy. You know, I got a Dick Tracy lunchbox. I got a Dick Tracy shirt. My mom communicated to us through materialism, consumerism. Christmas. Religion. Brainwashing the children with religion on Christmas.
We'll change our pattern of behavior.
By buying them toys. So Dick Tracy, And that movie is still amazing. We watched it a few months ago. It's like a noir, but it's colorful, right? Like the photography's unbelievable. It's an interesting comic book film. But Dick Tracy had this fucking watch that was like he had a radio on his watch, right? So he could talk to headquarters or whatever the fuck. And, you know, that's basically the Apple Watch is, right? And the iPhone, you know, it's like a video fucking receiver. It's just a way to get the message out. A way to sort of, I mean, in a certain way doing this, you almost feel like Alexander Graham Bell, like talking on a telephone. You're like, this message is going out some fucking place. But not many people have many of these yet. I don't know. I don't see a bunch of people walking around streaming. Maybe they have those glasses. My friends told me I need to get those glasses. With the fucking... I can't believe that's legal. You know, I had that idea about a decade ago. The way I would love to do my shows, I'd love to just have a feed going all the time. And then I could just edit it at the end of the day. Be like, I want this moment, I want this moment, I want this moment. Now it's like they've got these fucking glasses that are like, you can literally film people like without them knowing and shit. You know, at least when you film people with your phone, you gotta whip your phone out. You know, it's kind of obvious you got something going. You got this big selfie stick whipping around. So people know what's going on. They know they're being exploited for content. They're being monetized as we speak. Every millisecond. Well, that's a nice little view right there. All right, so we're wrapping it up. I'm on 10%. Thank you for watching, everybody. This was a crazy... Well, it was fun. I had fun. There was some funny shit. And some... I don't know. We got into some interesting stuff. Maybe I should talk about poetry more. Would that make it more interesting for people? You know, they say with these online, you know, social media accounts, you should find your niche. Whatever your niche is, you should work within your niche. So I guess I should be on Book Talk or, you know, I do think that there is like a poetry talk waiting to happen. There is like a TikTok poetry superstar who will be the Rupi Kaur of poetry talk. That's my challenge to you, the open micers, okay, the telethoners. Thank you for joining us on the telethon recap show, the best of the after show. We're live from Soho, Manhattan, one of the most expensive neighborhoods on planet Earth. And we're here, and you're not. I'm Governor Phil Murphy. We're from Jersey, and you're not. Yeah, well, I'm from fucking New York City, goddammit, and you're not. You have to live in Jersey because you want to be near New York. I'm sorry. It's the ultimate you're not. But we won't say that. We won't say that out loud. We're New Yorkers. We don't care. We have more important shit to do. We're too demure. We're too thoughtful. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I gotta get my sushi now. Let's see what they got. Okay. I think they've got some stuff. So anyway, that's where I saw Adam Sandler, right in front of Beyond the Pale. That's where I saw Adam Sandler, the famous clown, the world clown, the world cultural figure Adam Sandler, the generational talent Adam Sandler. Has he been nominated for an Oscar? Did he get nominated for Uncut Gems? All right, well, anyway, go out there, write poetry, live poetry, be poetry. The poetry goes on. Even comedians, you should write poetry. And just chill the fuck out. Read poetry, for Christ's sake. Just settle down. Heal the trauma. Heal the trauma. Listen to nature. Just look at animals, like Napoleon, my friend, the philosopher. Just go out and watch animals, okay? That's your assignment. And make TikToks about it. All right, we love you. I'll be back on soon. Have a great night. All right.
Get out of my way.